Meanwhile, Manchester United fans have plenty of reasons to be grumpy at the moment. We mentioned this yesterday. They've lost 9 of their opening 20 Premier League games. That's the most since 1989. They've scored 22 goals. That's the fewest by Manchester United in the Premier League at this stage ever. 21 lost in all competitions. That's the most since 1972. And their loss against Forest yesterday is the first since 1994. This is why Mark Ogden is really on today, to cheer everybody up, give them some light.
Why do FC only hire people that hate United? Rob Dawson and Ogden. Not me, obviously.
No, obviously not. Mark, what would you like to say that's new that maybe we haven't heard before after what you saw yesterday?
Well, listen, you only ever ask me on when they lose, so that's all the time. That's why I'm always on the show. So no, listen, I was at the game yesterday, and it's really hard to find positives. And Alejandro Garnacho's been a positive this season. I think he's done well, and that's about it. I mean, it was just watching them and speaking to Ten Hag after the game. His answers to questions are just not convincing, you know. So I don't quite know what Ten Hag's doing or where we're going with it, but I just think that, you know, those numbers, you know. He's trending worse than David Moyes was in his season at United. Now, you know, David Moyes has gone on to do a great deal at West Ham. He's won a trophy, one of the most respected managers in the Premier League. You can't knock him for that. But his time at Man United was probably the low point since Sir Alex Ferguson retired. But Eric Ten Hag's team this season is doing worse than David Moyes was at the same stage. So I don't know how you defend that. He's got a good squad there and he's not getting anything out of it. So, yeah, I'm sorry, but I can't think of much more positive to say than the fact that there's not a lot of positive things to say.
Oh, no, that's for... Kieran, they're a mess, aren't they?
Yeah, they're a mess. It's getting embarrassing. I mean, they play like a team they've never met each other. I just can't believe the lack of control that they have in their games. There's just no one that settles the game down. The players just lack confidence individually. The ball gets played up to United's back four, and no one wants to even try and bring the ball down and just try and like calm things down a little bit and gain control. They just hoof the ball into the stands, and when you do small things like that at places like Forest, the crowd pick up on it and it just becomes chaotic, and the whole game is all of United's games are just chaotic. Without the ball, there's holes everywhere throughout the team. They look vulnerable. The players don't look like they know what they're going to do before they get the ball, and then the players around that player that has the ball, they don't know what that player's going to do either, and it's just really weird to see. I don't see any patterns of play. It's alarming. I think they're probably going to have their worst Premier League season in history, I reckon. He must be on thin ice. I feel like if they don't win against Wigan, then it's going to be trouble.
They're absolutely hopeless, aren't they? I mean, there's no way out of it. I don't know, Augie, did we get any clarification from Ten Hag after the game about the Maino substitution at half-time?
Yeah, he said he was tired. He said he's played too many games in a week, so that was the justification. But he's 19 years old; he should be able to play, I'd imagine, 3 games in a week. So, you know, the one thing that really struck me last night was the lack of togetherness. So there was an incident in the second half where Morgan Gibbs-White he basically went through Scott McTominay and then got up and did the same thing to Johnny Evans, and the players just accepted it. There was no sense of United players going after Morgan Gibbs-White, pushing and shoving him and ganging up on him like teams that have got a togetherness do. It was just this kind of meek surrender to a player that's badly failed two of their players. And I was thinking back to the good United teams when there'd be 5 or 6 players surrounding Gibbs-White and basically saying, you know, what are you doing? And it was none of that. And they're just all looking for somebody else to take charge, somebody else to show some leadership and responsibility. And it's just not there.
That's incredible. He was tired.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's got to be more than that. It's got to be more.
Hold on. He played him. He didn't know he was tired. He didn't know he was tired before the game. He didn't talk to the boy. Say, how you feeling? I'm feeling great, Gaffer. I want to play. I'm 19. I'm confident. I'm a good young player. You've seen it. You talked to him, right? It took you 45 minutes at Nottingham Forest. It's not Man United, Liverpool. It's not end to end, right? It's not that big pressure cooker atmosphere. It was a good atmosphere, but, you know, it's a game they should dominate. But I think more, as well as results, and I think Kieran mentioned it, and you know I've mentioned this before, when you're getting dominated by the teams that they are, home and away, it's time for an exit. It's time for a different strategy. And I think now that this investment is coming in, and I know Augie's talked about who's going to make decisions. Somebody's going to have to make decisions. And whether we like it or not, yes, if you can get rid of a bunch of these players in one hit and get them in a big truck and get them out and say, you've gone, you're never going to play for United again, that would be ideal. But it's going to have to start at the top.
Right.
And it's going to have to start with the manager. Unfortunately, that's just the way the cookie crumbles in this business. You know, players have long contracts, they stay, they have a value, they have a transfer value. Managers, it's about paying them off, and you know, we know United were paying salaries, and they might still be paying salaries for some managers that they've already sacked, but that's where they are, and I think they will have to start. And this new investment, they will have to start with the manager and make a statement.
The argument has always been there's not another manager out there who will get a tune out of these players. And I almost as a defence for Ten Hag. But more and more in each passing week and each passing press conference, you start to feel, well, we should try somebody else. You know, at what point? And to the substitution of Mainu, I do not believe he was tired or substituted because he was tired any more than I believe Ten Hag when he said he was leaving out Varane for tactical reasons. That just makes absolutely no sense to me. A couple of days ago, we sat here and praised Manchester United for who they were against Aston Villa, how they use their wide players, are playing to their strengths. Now, a couple of days later, albeit, okay, Højlund's out and Anthony has to come in. That's another topic all on its own. And you have absolutely no idea who Manchester United are. In just the same way we're talking about Spurs and their identity, what is Manchester United's? I have absolutely no idea what Ten Hag is trying to do. So while you may want to defend him and say, well, nobody can get a tune out of this team, they have no identity. The excuses he offers are just not at all plausible. Players he's signed have regressed. Antony, Amrabat is a player I thought would come in and do an outstanding job. Anything but. Everywhere you look, I just think that Ten Hag has failed this season. Last season, I thought he did a great job. This season, it has left me with a real head scratcher as to what value he, as a manager, is bringing.
But his rhetoric has been like this, and Augie touched on his rhetoric's not making sense, but it hasn't made sense since match day one. Wolves at home.
Yep.
Made no sense then. After that game, when they were outplayed and they got these huge decisions that went the way, and he waffled on about how they were the correct decisions when even United fans were going, oh, we got away with that one. Look, without harping on about other managers, if you only look at two clubs that are up there, and Tottenham and Aston Villa, and say, when United look at that and say, we can't get a better tune out of these players, you only have to look at those two clubs and say, well, these two managers did and have done. Simple as that.
Mark, you've been on before. You said nothing's going to happen, certainly in the short term, until the takeover is confirmed. What about players who could leave in January? Varane, of course, his contract ends in the summer. Will they try and offload him now? Obviously, heavily linked to Real Madrid.
Yeah, and that's a difficult one because obviously they're not going to renew his contract, so he can leave on a free transfer in the summer. But they do need bodies around. You know, they need the manpower there. So I think they'd only get rid of Varane if the offer was so good that they couldn't turn it down. I think Jadon Sancho is obviously one that they're trying to get rid of, and I think Borussia Dortmund are semi-interested there, but I think it'd have to be on their terms because he's on big wages and he costs a big fee. Victor Lindelof, they've just renewed his contract, given an extra year, which that is purely a business decision. But you could argue the fact that he was out of contract next summer, that would have been better just to get rid of him because he's not very good. But they've given an extra year's contract to hope that somebody will buy him. But I think that is a kind of a false economy because if they can't sell him in the summer, they've got another year wages of Victor Lindelof to settle. So, you could go through the squad. There's so many players they could get rid of, but they do need people in the squad. So I think it's going to be a fairly quiet window. I mean, who would sign Anthony Martial? But he can go. He's got 6 months left in his contract. But again, who's going to take him? So they haven't really got a lot of people who you would regard as saleable assets. They've just got a lot of dead wood that they're trying to get rid of. But other clubs aren't stupid. They're going to either wait till they're free agents or they're just not going to touch them because they're on such big wages. But just to the point of the manager, Dan, we're talking about Ten Hag, things are changing now because we have seen that Dave Brailsford, who's the director of sport for Ineos, has been at the last 2 games. He was sat next to Sir Alex Ferguson last night. Now he's going to be on a 3-man board with Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Joe Glazer. So he's basically going to be Erik Ten Hag's boss. I think the reality is that the clock is ticking now for Ten Hag. unless he gets performances and results better. He keeps saying when players are back fit, we'll get results. We'll be better when players are back. Well, he's basically giving himself that test now to make sure that happens. And I think by the time that the Ineos deal is fully ratified by beginning of February, he'll have had a month to say, look, you've had your players fit. What are the results? But ultimately, I think that because there isn't a real array of talent out there, I don't think Graham Potter's the man for Man United, despite him being favourite. The best thing is, this season's gone. Let him see out the season. Let him get to the point where he can't save himself, and then season ends, get rid, start again. Because if you do it mid-season when there's not really a replacement there, it's just self-defeating. We saw that with Ralph Rangnick. So I do think we're going to have a turbulent 6 months ahead. But in terms of January, it's going to be a lot of dead wood that they can't get rid of.
Just overall in January, away from Manchester United, what are you expecting in the market, Mark?
I don't really see any big deals. I mean, managers will tell you they don't like signing players in January, and there really isn't a lot of money to go around. I mean, the big one, I suppose, in Europe is Mbappe. Mbappe's contract ends in the summer. Real Madrid are desperate to get him. Do they wait until the end of the season when he'll be a free agent, or do they worry that he might end up being tempted by the Premier League and all the money that's there in the summer when, the Premier League prize when he gets paid out? But I don't see Mbappe going in January. I don't see any major deals happening. I think Ivan Toney's the one, but that depends on whether Brentford look at the equation and think, if we let Ivan Toney go, do we stay up? And that's 50-50 right now because Mbeumo's injured. So I think it might be a quiet January, but there'll be a lot of low-level deals. But the bad deals are the ones that are done in the last week of the window, the last day of the window. And we tend to see quite a lot of those, don't we?